The holiday season tends to be a busier time of year, and so I find it to be the perfect time to break out my slow cooker and crock pot on a weekly basis and make meals that are going to be hearty and cozy, but also still full of nourishing ingredients. That way we're all feeling our best and we're feeling cozy and warm in our houses, and it turns into a time of year that we can really enjoy and just kind of lean into. So I'm starting with one of my all-time favorite slow cooker meals. This is something that is fancy enough that you could make around the holidays, you could make it for guests, or just on any weeknight or weekend. It is so delicious, so simple, but the flavor will beat any restaurant around. At least in my small town, we don't have many Italian restaurants. I think there may be one, and so I don't get good Italian food often unless I make it. And this is a delicious Italian style slow cooker meatball with a homemade from scratch tomato sauce that we're gonna make in the slow cooker. And this is truly one of my all-time favorite recipes, but you won't believe how easy it is to make. Since I'm using a slow cooker that has saute mode, I like to get my veggies nice and soft first, but if you just are using a regular style of crock pot, you can definitely just add those veggies in and they're gonna slow cook and break down in the sauce anyways. I'm adding a little bit of avocado oil, and then I have a mixture of onion and carrot and garlic, all the flavors I love to base all my dishes around this time of year, and I'm adding that into the slow cooker, and we're gonna let those get nice and soft. Then I like to mix in tomato paste, and this just adds all that richness you need to the sauce. That way when we add in our jar of crushed tomatoes, it has this really deep richness, like you cooked it down all day long. Normally, I will just use a big can of crushed tomatoes, but I was out of it, but I had a smaller can, so I'm using the jar of crushed tomatoes and a can. Now, to give the tomatoes that true off the vine, sweet, vine ripened flavor that we want, I love adding in a little bit of coconut sugar or even brown sugar if that's what you have. And this just gives that natural sweetness to the sauce along with the carrots. And I actually learned that one of the tricks to good Italian tomato sauces, like this one, is taking a carrot and adding that in and then just letting it cook in the sauce to naturally sweeten it. So we already have the carrots diced up in there, which are going to add a natural sweetness, but then I also love adding in that coconut sugar to make sure those tomatoes really sing. Now I'm starting on the really simple meatball, but it is just a fall apart meatball recipe. This is just perfect in this sauce. So I like to use equal parts of ground beef and ground pork or even pork sausage. And then I add in fresh breadcrumbs. Usually I will be using a sourdough breadcrumb, and that just gives even more flavor. And I like to soak it in a little bit of milk right over the meat. That way it absorbs all of that liquid and it just gives these meatballs the most incredible texture ever. I love meatballs in general, but this is just the texture and the flavor with the sauce is incredible. I added in some garlic, lots of garlic to these meatballs because it's going to cook down and help flavor the sauce too. Then I added in a few eggs, some chopped flat leaf parsley, which is giving it this beautiful color. And then I also do about a 1/4 cup or so of freshly grated Parmesan cheese and add that straight into my meatball mix. I love how quickly this all comes together, and it makes such a large amount that you can feed a big crowd, which is perfect for around the holidays. I've brought this several places already because it's just so great and everybody loves a good meatball. You can serve it with pasta or just serve it standalone on its own, and it is perfect as is. I love using a big ice cream scoop, and I will use that to scoop my meatballs. That way I can put them straight in that way, and I don't even necessarily have to roll them. I can just get them into the sauce and let them slow cook all day long. Now, whenever they're done, I love topping it with a little bit of fresh Parmesan cheese right in the slow cooker. And then you can also do a sprinkle of parsley right over the top just to add that beautiful green, white, and red coloring that is just so beautiful to the eye since we eat with our eyes first. And this is just my perfect meatball. It really doesn't get any more comforting. And I love just serving this with some simple bronze cut pasta on the side. So tonight I'm using some bucatini because that is one of my family's favorites. It's a little bit thicker than spaghetti, and this just gives you a very quintessential restaurant experience, but right in the comfort of your own home. And there is nothing cozier than a bowl of pasta with these fresh, delicious meatballs and tomato sauce. This pairs so well with some sort of seasonal salad, whether it's a Brussels sprout salad or you pair some fresh greens with a little bit of roasted acorn squash. It is just perfect on the side of it and makes a beautiful balanced meal. It's Saturday morning and I'm just about to start on the next slow cooker meal. I'm just drinking some morning coffee. This one is going to be so good. It's a pork and apple and potato one, so it's like all of our favorite things. But we're going to add a special ingredient to make it even more fall-esque. It's so good and it's really easy, and everything is put into the slow cooker. There's no cooking anything else on the stove, so I love this for busy weekends. But first, I wanted to share with you what I'm making this morning real quick while I have coffee and get this slow cooker meal going. And I'm going to make up some of the apple cider donuts from Wildgrain, and they're such a fun breakfast for the weekends. It's really quick, so I can throw them in the oven and get them warm and then make my slow cooker meal, and everything's ready to go for Saturday. And these are really cool because they have wheat and rye flour, so they're extra tasty. And that is why I wanted to share with you more about Wildgrain, because I have a bunch of their stuff in my freezer all the time. They're the first bake from frozen subscription box, but they also have artisanal pastries, and they partner with bakeries around the country so they can give you really good handmade products. I'm so excited to use their sourdough harvest loaf. That sounds amazing. Got some slow fermented olive oil ciabatta bread, some pumpkin cinnamon biscuits. So whether you're looking for seasonal items like their delicious donuts that they have right now, or if you're just looking for the staples like harvest bread and regular sourdough bread, they have it all. So you can get it shipped to your door and pop it in the freezer, and everything goes from freezer to table in 25 minutes or less. So I love taking their things and pairing it with a slow cooker meal. That's like a foolproof weekend meal for us around here. You can even build your own box. They have a classic version, a plant-based version, and a gluten-free version. And they always have different seasonal items too. They have the pumpkin cinnamon biscuits, they have the apple cider donuts. I think they even have like a butternut squash ravioli. So if you want to check out Wildgrain, I have a link and a code for you. You can go to wildgrain.com/healthyelizabeth30 and enter your code healthyelizabeth30, because that's going to give you $30 off your first box plus free croissants for life. And those are really good. And don't forget to check out their seasonal items. These are so good. They're buttery, the perfect amount of sweetness, delicious apple cider. You cannot beat these, and they taste fresh because they just came out of the oven. Nothing says fall to me more than apple cider, and one of my favorite ways to pair it with food is by taking a big piece of pork, a pork roast, and putting that in the slow cooker with some apples and some apple cider. And this recipe, I'm going to be using some red potatoes too, so it's a full meal in one. So I have a pork loin roast, and I'm seasoning that first with some salt and some pepper and spritzing that with a little bit of avocado oil. And I like to just put that into the slow cooker just like this. Make sure both sides are nicely seasoned because we want to make sure it has lots of flavor. And then we'll start adding in the other ingredients into our slow cooker. I find that pork is a great thing for serving to company during the holidays because you can usually find a really big piece of meat for a great price. Because I know sometimes when you're buying things like beef, it can be really expensive, especially when you're trying to feed a crowd. So by switching it to pork, not only is it a little bit lighter, but it is so much more economical. So I love having pieces like this in my freezer this time of year, and it is so good and it's so easy to make, and it always is fall apart tender. It's so easy to cook and you don't have to really worry about it too much. So I have some red onion and some garlic, and then I'm also going to be taking 2 Granny Smith apples and slicing those into about a 1/4 inch or so in thickness. And I love the mixture of apples and potatoes. That just screams fall to me. So you can either omit it or you can even add more potatoes. If you're not interested in doing the apples, you could just do the apple cider and you're still going to have amazing flavor. I'll get the garlic and the onions into the slow cooker so it can really be near to the meat. That way it can give it tons of flavor. And then I have about 1.5 pounds of red potatoes. I'll go ahead and add those in whole. You don't even need to cut them in half because you want to make sure that everything cooks around the same time. So since we're using a big piece of pork, I like to leave those baby potatoes whole. That way they don't get overcooked. Now with the apple, I'm going to go ahead and add those in at the same time, and it kind of just breaks down into the sauce and becomes this really tender flavoring that you almost don't even notice is there. So if you're worried about somebody who may not like it, don't worry because they're almost not going to know it's there. It just gives an amazing flavor. Now I'm mixing together a mixture of chicken broth, fresh apple cider, the only ingredient is apples, and then I'm mixing that with a little bit of Dijon mustard or honey mustard, you could do either, and I love mixing that with a splash of apple cider vinegar, not apple cider in this case, we just use a tiny little splash of apple cider vinegar. Gives it nice zing and tang and also helps tenderize that pork while it's cooking. I'll throw in a couple bay leaves, then pour that delicious mixture all over the top, and that's going to be our cooking liquid. I love to run out to my garden and grab a handful of fresh herbs, so today I'm using fresh thyme because I think it goes so well with the flavors of the apple. Then that's it. That's all you need to do. Put the lid on, let it cook on low for about 6 hours, depending on the size of your pork. And the scent that this perfumes your house with is just going to make it so cozy that day. If it's really chilly outside, get your slow cooker going because it's going to perfume your house with the best smell and just get everybody that much more excited for dinner. These slow cooker recipes that I'm sharing with you today really are the perfect thing to put into your slow cooker or crock pot and have it going all day, because when you end the day with a meal that feels like it took all day long but you hardly spent any time, you had time to run your errands, go to the grocery store, go visit a farm or pick apples, whatever it is you're doing, it is just so nice to come home at the end of a day, especially when it gets dark so early, and have something that is already ready to go. And you can start it early in the morning. I usually will make my cup of coffee and I see the leaves falling outside and the kitchen is already cozy, and I can just put something together really easily in the slow cooker and have it ready to go. There is nothing better, and it is such a win. Okay, improvising because I only have 2 chicken breasts, so I'm using a little bit of pressure cooked chicken that I have from my freezer to make 3. Three tablespoons or so of butter, and let that melt. I'm making gravy in the slow cooker, so I'm switching to a silicone spatula so I don't scrape up the bottom. This is one of those recipes I can make just about any night of the week because I always have chicken in my freezer. Flour. So it's so easy to pull out and pair with a number of different things. And all you have to do is start by making the gravy, which you can do right on the stove. You just add in your butter, your flour, whisk that together, and then I like to add in my seasonings so they can get mixed into that roux. And then our other star ingredient is just some good chicken stock. And you could make this with chicken stock or turkey stock. You could even change the entire recipe and make it with turkey tenderloins or turkey breasts, and then use turkey broth and have a turkey and gravy. That would be a beautiful post-Thanksgiving meal. While you wait for the roux to slightly start to thicken the gravy that we're making, I'm gonna go ahead and add a plethora of spices. So I'm using some garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, a little bit of parsley just to give it some color and some greenery. And then my favorite poultry seasoning. This one is the best. I love it. It's organic too. You can order it online. It's one of my favorites. So I'm gonna add all my different spices. Whenever I'm cooking something really simple, just using whole foods and from scratch, I always make sure to season it with lots of different seasonings. You don't necessarily need to use tons of it, but using a variety of seasonings can just make any dish taste so much better. And especially when you're making something like a gravy or a sauce, you're gonna need to add lots of different seasonings in order to give it that essential kind of gravy flavoring. I like to mix some of my broth into the roux to get it going, but then I'll take some of the other chicken broth that I set aside and I'll whisk my cornstarch straight into that. That way I don't have to add in any water and water down that concentrated chicken broth flavor. I love slow cooker meals, but I feel like a lot of them can have a lot of like canned and packaged things. And so I try to avoid that and make it from scratch, even if it's really simple. And so instead of using like a packaged gravy or a jarred gravy, it's so easy to whip it together. And if you don't have an insert that will do saute mode, one, you could either do it in the Instant Pot, just on saute and then slow cook, or do it on the stove. It seriously takes 3 minutes, if that, and then you can throw it into your slow cooker along with your chicken. So adding in the 2 chicken breasts. And then my shredded pre-cooked rotisserie chicken that I just do in the Instant Pot with a little bit of broth. It's still a little bit frozen, but I'm feeling like it'll be fine. Okay, turn saute mode off. And now we'll just slow cook. This is seriously the best dinner. Perfect for fall. Growing up, I basically lived off of like rice and gravy, but we did it with, you know, canned cream of chicken and canned cream of mushroom. So this one is a whole lot more wholesome and the flavor is just as good. It's like all those flavors of home. I seriously love it. And it's so versatile. You can serve it over some rice. You can serve it over pasta. So I'll show you that later. This is one of my top favorite cozy meals. It is so comforting and it's really easy to throw together because all you really need is some chicken. You can pair it with different kind of greens on the side or throw something in it like frozen green beans. So it's super easy for quick fall dinners. I also, at the end, will usually add a few pads of butter just to give it a little more butteriness right before serving. Our favorite way to eat this is either over mashed potatoes or egg noodles. So on busy days, I definitely go with the egg noodles because I can cook them up in about 6 minutes and have everything ready to go. I pretty much can't get over how good this is. This brings me back to my childhood because my mom would make the best chicken and gravy, and this is like right on par with it, but completely from scratch and so easy. So I'm obsessed with this. I'm just serving it tonight really simply. Got some buttered egg noodles that took like 5 minutes to boil, and then some leftover peas that I just pulled out. I've already eaten half of them, and I'll give the kids some other greens. I have some green beans from the garden too. So we'll just steam those up with a little butter, and we'll have like a very English inspired dinner tonight. I hope that these recipes will give you some help out during your busy holiday season. Don't forget to slow down and sit down and take some time to enjoy this meal with somebody that you love. I'll have the recipes for you linked in the description box, and I will be back again with another really fun holiday inspired video so we can all just really enjoy this time of year and soak it up. And don't forget, you can make things a little bit easier on yourself by checking out Wildgrain so you can stock your freezer with a bunch of baked goods that go from freezer to table in less than 25 minutes. Thanks so much for joining me in the kitchen.